Joining us now from the Washington Post is Nicki Jhabvala. You can follow her on Twitter at Nicki Jhabvala. Nicki Jhabvala. Nicki, what's going on?
Not much. You said my name perfectly. That was amazing.
Well, I appreciate that. I try my best. I think it's usually something that a guest deserves. As someone that gets my last name pronounced wrong just about 90% of the time.
I got to ask this question to him. How do you spell your last name?
Me? Altizer.
That's how I thought it was spelled. I'm going to show you how JP spelled your name.
Well, it doesn't surprise me that JP doesn't know what he's doing with that.
Nicki, what do you think happened to Noah Brown yesterday?
Oh man, I hate speculating on injuries. It's hard to say because I couldn't get a view. I mean, it appeared that there was a collision. I don't know that there was anything nefarious. Some people said he was a cheap shot. I didn't see any of that. I just saw him go down after, making a short catch over the middle, and he sort of limped off the field and then was hunched over on the sideline for a good bit. And then got in the cart and was wheeled off. And then as he was getting wheeled off, they went over the bump right before going into the facility, and he screamed in pain. And I honestly don't know. I was talking to John Kyle about this. Is if there's no collision, maybe you think it could be concussion, which would create a whole host of problems for the team if a collision caused that, because it's supposed to be no contact. Did he take a cheap shot to the stomach? Did he lose his wind? And I don't know, to be honest. I'm hoping we get more information today.
Another person that I've seen talked about plenty at minicamp is Marshawn Lattimore. I saw that you guys had a chance to catch up with him yesterday. What'd you take away from what he had to say yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I thought his press conference was actually really great. He was very open about what it was like dealing with the hamstring injury last year, how it made the adjustment to the new team hard, how he felt like he was pressing at times just to show what he could do to prove himself for a new team. So I thought he was open about everything. I thought it was good. He does seem healthier now, and hopefully he can get back to, the way he was a couple years ago.
Yeah, I think for him, confidence plays a major part in the way that he plays. And when you're not healthy, you can't play. And you lack confidence. And I think that you could see that in his game last year. And
he said that. I mean, you could see it definitely on the field. You could see his frustration, obviously, built up with the PIs and everything. But he said even when he watched the tape, he looked timid, just in the steps he was taking. And that again, I mean, Steven, she would know more, but that to me would show a lack of confidence, not really trusting your leg.
Totally.
So yeah.
But who has caught your attention out there, Nicki, of all the newer people that are on the team? And who's a person that's been around for a few years that might need to step it up?
I mean, I always throw out this caveat that it's 7-on-7. They don't even do full 11-on-11 like a lot of teams during minicamp. It's 7-on-7. So you can only glean so much. And it's no contact. There's supposed to be no contact. So I would say, I mean, I do like Jalen Lane. I think his speed is I think it's intriguing, but you got to be able to use that in a game when, people are flying towards you. I think he's interesting. I think there are two Jacoris on the team. One's a receiver, one's a running back. I think they're both intriguing. The running back, obviously, being the 7th round pick. I think both have the skill set to sort of be that disruptor in the room. And then for the receiving sport, I mean, there's a clear opening now. I mean, Michael Gallup's dealing with a hamstring strain, so I would imagine he'll be okay for training camp, but he hasn't been out here for minicamp and missed, I think, the last day of OTAs. And now we'll see what's going on with Noah Brown, if anything. But they need, basically a number 3, number 2, a true number 2. Debo's not a true number 2 in my mind. He's more of he's an exceptional player, but more of a sort of hybrid guy. They need somebody to really step up there. So literally anybody in that room needs to step up.
Talking with Nicki Jhabvala here on BMitch and Finlay, Tobi Altizer in for JP today. So DQ mentioned 2 second-year guys the other day in his press conference, talking about Ben Sinnott and Jordan McGee. What have you seen out of those guys, and what kind of role do you think they can play this year?
Yeah, Jordan McGee has a chance to take a huge leap, in part because he played so few defensive snaps last season, dealing with injuries and whatnot. And he's getting a lot of reps in minicamp, mostly because, Bobby Wagner, he doesn't need these minicamp reps. He got an excuse absence for day one of minicamp, and it gives Jordan more time, and he does look more confident out there. I mean, I know DQ, I know AP have also, they've raved about him. They really expect him to take a major leap this year. And Ben Sinnott looks bigger, like thicker. He had that one really nice catch. It was off a beautiful ball from Marcus Mariota, but he does look good. And then I think Quinn has mentioned this a lot, just for the second-year players, there's that confidence, there's that comfort of coming in after knowing the system. You don't feel like you're swimming. You're not trying to learn the new system, like adjust to a new life, a new team, the speed of the pro game. So you do see them at ease a little bit more, and I think it reflects in their game.
When you look at the offensive side of the ball, keeping Cliff Kingsbury and most of that offensive staff intact, how much do you think that helps this team, like you talked about, not feel like you're starting a little bit further down in terms of not starting right on page one, but it feels like for a lot of the guys that are returning, you're maybe a little bit deeper into the offense and you can get some of these newer guys accustomed to things. How much do you think that helps taking a step and where we saw this offense get to in January versus where we saw it earlier in the year? Like week 1 in Tampa versus the wild card game was totally different.
Yeah, no, totally. It's huge. It's huge. I mean, how many young quarterbacks have we seen sort of their careers get off to a slow start if they're not derailed completely because of all the turnover with their play caller or with their quarterback coach? It happens all the time. I mean, to me, this is a luxury for these guys to have not only their coordinator and their head coach still intact for a second season, but to have their full offensive staff. It's huge. So they can go deeper into the playbook. I mean, Quinn has said it. They didn't use the full playbook last year. So it allows them to do much more, and they'll need that now that there's film on Jaden and everybody else. It's huge.
How important was it, you think, to get all these offensive linemen here and they're having Tunsil in? I think, people, when they start thinking about building around a quarterback, you immediately think receivers and things like that. Hell, they don't have protection, can't do anything. Right.
No, I think that front five is the second most important positional group, obviously, on the field behind quarterback. I think it's big to have them in here. It's only for a brief time, but just to start to build that rapport is huge because that's a one position where you have to play as one. 5 guys have to play as one, and it's usually more than 5 guys because you have to sub in and have it be seamless. I think it's of the utmost importance, and you can see them starting to build that. I feel like that group last year they gelled pretty quickly. It's a group that got along pretty well. And, I mean, I don't think that's atypical in the NFL, but I do think it's important, especially when they're going to have a few new pieces there. Both tackles, and then with Coleman moving to left guard. So yeah, they need a chance to really get going.
How has Debo looked? I've seen some videos making the rounds on social media, and people are having some say about the way that Debo looked out on the field. What has been your observation of Debo?
He looks good. I even took a picture of him and sent it to one of the 49ers writers, just like, does he look fit and trim to you? Is this like, and they're like, oh yeah, he looks way better. So yeah, I got confirmation that he is in good shape, and he shows it out there. Like he's fast, like, and he's powerful. That first step, oh my goodness, and he can cut. Like, it's disgusting. Honestly, I'm glad I don't have to defend that.
I think when you look at him, you think receiver, but he's built like a running back.
He's built like a running back.
And
absolutely.
I think that throws people off.
I mean, he looks like a tank.
Yeah, that's the difference because he doesn't look like what a receiver typically looks like.
No, right, exactly.
Yeah, I do think it throws a lot of people off because the video that's been making the rounds comes from Scott Abraham of ABC7, and it was just a bunch of people were quote tweeting and saying, man, he looks out of shape. And that's interesting, Nikki, that you said that you sent a picture and the 49ers people like, oh, he looks great.
No,
he's always been bigger than a typical receiver.
He's always been bigger than your, like, I mean, he's not like a willowy, lanky receiver. He's a powerful dude. But no, he looks in shape to me.
Big time. Defensive side of the football, talking with Nicki Jhabvala here on BMitch and Finlay. Toby Altizer in for JP. Defensive line. I think it's a big year for Johnny Newton to see him take a step forward. What have you seen out of him? Obviously, like you said, no real contact, but what does he look like and what kind of expectations does this team have for him in year 2?
Yeah, it's hard to glean much from that position. They have him doing a lot of individual drills, but he does look good. I think, again, going back to what I was saying about the second-year players, I think there is sort of that comfort and that confidence that comes with knowing, the scheme and where you're supposed to be and everything like that. So I think he has a chance to make a leap. I'm curious to see how they make all the new pieces, not make them all work, but how they fit them all in up front. I mean, they added not just size, but a ton of new faces and a lot on the inside. So how does he sort of fit into that mix? We'll see. But I think just having a full healthy off season could be huge for him. I mean, he was dealing with 2 foot surgeries at this time last year.
Do you think they did enough on the defensive line? Like, do you think we're going to see an improved unit?
We're going to find out.
Well, and that's what I think is interesting is like, it's all speculation, obviously, at this point, but people were going into the offseason thinking that's a big area of need, getting pass rush, obviously stopping the run, and their big money acquisition was Javon Kinlaw, which I don't think was entirely popular with the fan base. What do you think about their moves on the defensive line?
I mean, I don't hate him. I was a little surprised that, the length and the money they gave Kinlaw. But I like the moves. And I know there's still that question of will they add a pass rusher? Do they need a pass rusher? But I think they really built up the interior, and I think you can generate a really strong pass rush from the interior. And the thing I always come back to is they had 4 first-round picks on the line. It did not work out at all. They were only good when there was 3 of them in there, and it was intermittent success at best. Mm-hmm. So to have a star, maybe 2 stars on the interior, and then I guess more of I don't want to say role players, but veteran guys that know their responsibilities and know how they should play to, benefit the entire line. I think that could be huge. I think they can have a strong line, but until we see it at work, I don't think we'll really have a good sense. I think the joint practices are going to be huge in my mind. They always are.
I think people look at, with the Kinlaw thing, they just look at the price. And as JP has broken down many a times, he's a 3rd-tier price range guy for that position. Sure, and people look at it and they can't forget how much they make compared to what that guy makes. And he got too much money. But I don't think they bring him here if they didn't think that they could do something with him, because he was already with coaches on the coaching staff in other places.
Right. I mean, he knows Daryl Tapp, probably better than anybody. AP knows him better than anybody. He drafted him. So, yeah.
When you look at the defense, it feels like Lattimore, if he can get back to playing at the level that we once saw him play at, it sounds like he's feeling much healthier. How good do you think this defense can be?
I mean, to me, they're the X factor. I mean, I thought they started to make progress last season. They got off to a slow start, but once they started, getting some turnovers, they were a little bit better. But there's so many new faces. You don't quite know how that secondary is going to shake out. You don't know how the defensive line shakes out. The only thing that's a constant are Luvu and Wagner. Yeah. And they're 2 very good constants to have. I mean, especially for where this team was in recent years with their linebackers. But we really don't have a clue of how this defense will look, especially because they're going to tweak things. I mean, every team tweaks things to fit their personnel, and at least the ones with competent coaches. But to have, a bigger front, they're going to change some things here and there. So, yeah, I think they're a mystery, which they could play to their benefit too. But, yeah, I think we won't know really much about how they look on that side of the ball until at least joint practices, maybe not until preseason, although it's limited reps then. And yeah.
As I look back last year, I think the way that the offense plays and played last year helps the defense because they ate up a lot of clock, and that put the defense in position to be healthy. I mean, be rested when they went on the football field. And I believe the same thing can help them this year. But if you got a bigger bunch, they're not going to just get pushed around. And if that bigger bunch can do the things that the coaches expect them to do, now you have something that makes a defense, offense become more one-dimensional, which I think a defense plays better against. Yeah.
No, I agree with you completely. Totally.
Last one for me, Nicki. When you look at the corner room, what do you think the coaching staff doesn't necessarily have to be week one, but say we're getting down to playoff time. What do you think their ideal setup is? Like Lattimore on the outside, where does Sanders still line up? Is it Amos on the outside on the other side, or is it Jonathan Jones? How does that all work out?
It's Lattimore, Amos on the outside, Sanders still on the inside.
Okay. And when do you think? What do you think a timeline would be for Amos? Like, obviously, a second-round rookie. You think week one? Wow,
he's good.
I mean, I think he's good. He's good, and I mean, he probably should have been a first-round pick.
Yeah,
honestly.
Guy from Louisiana, Nicki. He's good.
yeah. I mean,
started off at Southwest Louisiana now.
Yeah, I think he's a week one starter.
I love that. Nicki, appreciate the time.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That's the great Nicki Jhabvala. You can follow her on Twitter at Nicki Jhabvala. She does a great job for the Washington Post.